our bodies. Hello to our bodies. Hello to my body. Hello to your body. It's good to be here with you. Let's say hello to the waters. Hello to water. Hello to water. Hello to water. It's good to be here with you. Let's say hello to the trees. Hello to the trees. Hello to the trees. Hello to the trees. It's good to be here with you. Let's say hello to the sun. Hello to the sun and to fires too. Hello to the sun and warm fires. Hello to the sun. It's good to be here with you. Let's say hello to the air. Say hello to the air. Hello to the air. Hello to the air. It's good to be here with you. Hello to our friends. Hello to my friends. Hello to my friends. Hello to my friends. It's good to be here with you. I'm glad I'm here with you. Hello, friends. It's good to be here with you today. I'm going to switch the guitar, but just a little bit, so we're going to use it later today. Let's do our Days of the Week song and learn a little bit about the loveliness of today. Days of the week. 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 You ready? I'm going to have you guys sing it this time. There's Sunday and there's Monday. There's Tuesday and there's Wednesday. There's Thursday and there's Friday. And then there's Saturday. Days of the week. 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 Today's number 22. The 22nd. That's Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, April the 22nd. It is Earth Day. I have my green shirt on today, and it's a silly shirt. It says, I just want to go camping and take naps, which I like to go camping and I like to take naps, but I like to do other things too. Today is Wednesday, April 22nd, Earth Day. Yesterday was Tuesday, April the 21st. Today is Wednesday, April the 22nd. Tomorrow is Thursday, April the 23rd. But today is Wednesday, April the 22nd, Earth Day. And in honor of Earth Day and the silly socks that we're wearing, I have my deer on grass, blue sky, and little mushrooms. And, I don't know if I can show that to you, but I'll try. Ta-da! And it goes all the way around. Woo! It's a silly sock. So those are my silly socks today. What silly socks are you guys wearing today? Well, because it is Earth Day, I thought and it's W, oh, I forgot that. W is for Wednesday. Oh, I'm kind of in the way. Let me go over to this side. See the W? It goes down, up, down, up. W is for Wednesday. And then Wednesday, the second letter is E. It goes down and it has 3 arms, a top arm, a middle arm, and a bottom arm. E. E is a vowel. E can go like egg, like my chicken eggs, or E can go E, like easy, or Easter. And E is also for earth. So E is for earth. Earth. Kind of an interesting sound with the R next, but yes. So we have the letter W and the letter E today. And Earth Day, let's start out. This is a very special Earth Day. Today, Wednesday, April 22nd, 2020, it is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. So for my W question of, I'm going to do a what. What is Earth Day and why was it started? There's my why. Earth Day, the first Earth Day was in 1970. There was a lot of pollution going on then. They didn't really keep check as to what factories put out or what automobiles put out with their lead gasoline, and they kind of had a lot of leaks, and we had a lot of sprays and stuff that weren't very good and put stuff into the air. And then Rachel Carson is an author who wrote this famous book called Silent Spring in, I think, 1969 is when it hit the bestsellers list, and it became really popular. Adults and teenagers in the room, or if any of you youngers know an adult teenager, make sure they've heard of Rachel Carson. Amazing woman scientist and amazing woman author who has changed the world, for sure. Silent Spring is one of her books, but she has many other books, and a lot of her other books are a little bit more hopeful. Silent Spring is a little sad book about the sad state of the earth and its pollution. But it got people thinking. And there was this Wisconsin senator, Gaylord Nelson, who was concerned about the environment in the U.S. deteriorating. So in 1969, he was concerned about that. And then there was also an oil spill in Santa Barbara, California. Wiggle your fingers if you've ever seen pictures of an oil spill. When it gets in the water, yeah, and it damages the birds in the shoreline. It's pretty devastating. And so he decided to stage, on April 22nd, he organized a teach-in on college campuses. And he got it promoted, and then they changed the name to Earth Day, and it soon became really a big deal. And in 1970, protests were organized by the Democrats and Republicans. So here, this older folks in the room, both parties came together to support Earth Day. Now, if only we can do that again today in environmental policies. Preaching a little bit, but for anybody else who's older in the room, let's hope we can get those youngins started on that now and early. So, Democrats and Republicans both decided to have these protests in support of the Earth. And by the end of 1970, the Earth Day celebrations led to all of this new policy change. The EPA, how many of you guys have heard of that before? Environmental Protection Agency was formed, and laws came into action like the National Environment Education Act, OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Act, the Clean Air Act. In 1972, the Clean Water Act came about. And then the next year, the Endangered Species Act. I know most of you, wiggle your nose if you've ever heard of the Endangered Species Act, where we protect species that are endangered of being lost because of pollution or because of climate change or because of habitat devastation, mostly caused by humans. Yeah, so all of these lovely things got started to help protect our Earth. And in 1990, Earth Day became a global event. So it wasn't just in the United States anymore. It became a global event where everyone across the whole Earth tried to celebrate Earth Day. And this year is the 50th anniversary. Some of those acts that I just talked about are actually this year kind of in danger of not happening. So our water's not really being protected and our air is not being protected. So I know you guys are young, and I know you care about your water and your air, and you're the ones that the water and the air is going to need to be around here for, and the earth and the animals when you're older. And so what you can do is write letters to your senators. You can get an adult to help you write the words if you don't know how to write, but write letters to your senators and tell them that those acts are really important, and it's very important to you to support and protect the water, the air, and the earth, and make sure that environmental laws are passed and are kept so that you guys, when you get bigger and for generations to come, can have clean air, clean water, and clean earth, and animals that are still around. Lovely. All right, so that's a little bit about Earth Day. Lots of talking, lots of talking. We're going to do a science experiment now about oil spills in honor of Earth Day. So what you guys are going to need, you can push pause after I tell you the ingredients. It's not ingredients. Supplies, after I tell you the supplies that you'll need for this experiment, and you can go find them and then come back and you can do the experiment with me, or you can just watch it right now, and then when the movie is over, go get your adult to get some of these supplies and do your own experiment. Always ask an adult first before you do experiments. It's always good to have an adult's eyes because they can see things and catch things that you weren't ready to catch, because experiments can have lots of consequences, but they're good learning things. So I have a clear glass container. I have rocks and shells in here because I don't have clay or Play-Doh. If you guys have clay or Play-Doh, you can put clay or Play-Doh down and make the land. What we're trying to do is kind of recreate a riparian environment where there's water as well as land, and then plants. So that's my plant. I have an air plant. I'm going to check the video here and make sure you guys can see the ground in front of me. Aha, you can't. I'm going to even zoom in even farther, ladies and gentlemen and non-binary folks. You're not going to be able to see my head, but you're going to be able to see this riparian environment that we got here. Okay, so a glass container. It doesn't have to be glass. It can be any kind of tub, just to make sure the water stays in. You're going to need some water. And I added a tiny, tiny drop of blue food coloring to my water just in case so that you guys can see it. You're going to need some oil. We're going to pretend, now this is just cooking oil. This is not the oil that's in oil spills, but it's still an oil product, so it's similar to that. You're going to need something to scoop with, like a spoon, something to absorb with, like cheesecloth or towels or cotton balls like this is. You're going to need soap, something to wash with, like soap. And you're going to need a little creature. The only animal I have is this little hamster. So if you guys have any water animals, like dolphins or anything like that, any little toys that'll fit in here, go ahead and put that in there. Or even if you have like a little toy float boat, that's great. Keep that in there too. So I just have my little hamster and this little fairy. I'm going to put them in there. And then it's kind of helpful to have a feather too. You don't want a feather that you want to keep really precious and that's a special feather, because I'll give you the bad news. The oil spill will damage the feather forever, and you'll never get it back to the special prettiness. So make sure it's a feather that you're willing to sacrifice for this experiment. Now let's talk a little bit about oil spills first. Now that you've gathered all your material, an oil spill can really impact the environment. Birds that are living there can no longer fly or swim in the area. Their feathers get all mixed up and gooked up with the oil. The shoreline habitat, like the animals that live there, the fish that are around there, the plants that are there, even the land there, gets destroyed. And it destroys nests so that the birds and the animals that used to live there can no longer come back there and reproduce, so you don't have those animals the next season. So it really has long-lasting effects. There are 3 tools that are often used to help clean up oil spills: absorption, removal, and cleaning. Now usually they use absorption and removal with oil spills. Sometimes scientists try to use milkweed, which is a type of plant, to absorb the oil spilled, and they also have floating vacuums sometimes to help remove. Now, we're going to do our experiment, and I'm not going to give you the answers. I'm going to see if you guys can experiment and hypothesize and come up with it. So I have my animals here. This one's kind of a shoreline animal here. She kind of hangs out in the shore and in the water. And we're going to pretend this little hamster is not a hamster, because hamsters don't live in the water. But we're going to pretend this hamster is actually maybe an otter that kind of swims in the water. All right, so let's add the water to the mix so we know what the water is like. Oh, look at that. They're swimming in the water. Swimming in the water, just swimming in the water. Okay, and see how the water comes up to the shoreline here, and it's on the shoreline. Now, those big oil refineries out at sea, or those big oil refineries that are carrying, the big barges that are carrying oil from the land-based refineries to another location. Let's say, beep, 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 it's spilled. Whoa, I don't know if you guys can see that. It is just immediately spread wide. My poor sea otter. Let's see if I can bring this over so you can see it better. Yeah, it's too far away to see. Oh man. You guys see what happened to my poor sea otter. Look at all that oil there. It immediately got on my poor sea otter. Let's see if I'm going to do something else for you too. I'm going to take my E here. Whee! I'm going to take that white piece of paper and put it under here so you can see it better instead of the dark ground. So, I'm And I'm gonna add the oil again so that you can see that better too. So I'm gonna pause with this right here. Check out my sea otter here for a while. He's swimming in the water. He's definitely covered with oil. Actually, you can kind of see it, but I'm gonna add some more to show you. Look at how fast that oil spread. Do you see how that dribble of oil over there that I just put in there is now spreading? If you have it at home and you're doing the experiment, you can see. See how my sea otter now has this gook on him? And see how the oil here is spreading? Oh no, it's gotten all the way over to the shoreline here. So now the seashell shoreline is damaged. So far my little fairy's okay, but you can see those oil bubbles there. Oh no, it's gotten all over here. Look at how fast it's spread in the water. Oil spreads in the water really fast. Oh man. All right, what is one way you think that we can get this oil out? Think of all our supplies. All right, let's try it. Let's try the spoon. Let's try scooping it out. Let's try to scoop that oil out. Oh, I got some there. I'm gonna have to dump it in something. Let me get something to dump it in. Boop, boop, boop. Dump it in my glass over there. I just don't wanna, oh no, I spread it. Do you see how in the process of dumping it, sometimes there's even more spreads and then it gets everywhere else? Okay, I got that oil. I'm gonna dump it. Ugh, man. Let's see if I can scoop some more. All right, I'm doing an okay job of scooping it out, but you notice what's happening while I'm scooping? What's happening with the oil? Is it getting spread everywhere now? Yeah, see how it's moving and it's sloshing up against the shore? Look, that poor rock that wasn't damaged before. Oh no, it almost went by my fairy lady. I'm gonna try to scoop it out so it doesn't hit her. So it's a little hard to scoop it out, huh? So we're trying, it does okay, but see how it's spreading? Let's try absorbing it. Do you remember what supplies we have for absorbing? Yeah, I have my cotton balls. So let's see if we can absorb it. See what happens when we absorb it. Some of it gets absorbed. Like I can see the yellow on my cotton ball. See the yellow from the oil? So some of it's getting absorbed. But look, oh no, it's hit my fairy in the process too. So not only is this poor otter, we're pretending the hamster's an otter, remember? Not only is this poor otter covered with oil, but now my fairy is in all of my shoreline where their houses are. And we are absorbing it, but there's a lot of gook in the absorption. And look, there's still some oil left. So it's hard to even scoop it up with that. Let's see if I were a bird. If I were a bird on the shoreline here, what would happen to my feathers with this oil? Because there's lots of birds that live on the shoreline or birds that try to fish in the water. Oh no. Look at that shininess on my feathers now. Feel how shiny look at how shiny that feather is. If you have a feather at home and you can feel it, feel that feather. It's slick. Do you think it's gonna fly well right now? Nope. Look at how it sticks to itself. Do you think it's gonna keep that bird warm? Nope. Oh, look at all that oil on the back of this feather. Ugh. That poor oil spill just ruined my feather. Do you think my feather will ever get back to that fluffy place it was? Nope. Nope, nope. So we tried scooping the oil out. Now look, it's spread it everywhere. We tried absorbing it. We got some of it out, but see how there's still oil everywhere? All right, let's say if we clean it. So I have this this soap, this dish liquid soap. It's a detergent soap. I'm gonna pour this in, but let's think about it before I pour it in. Do you think this otter likes soap in his eyes? How many of you guys like soap in your eyes? How many of you guys like soap in your mouth? Yeah, I'm pretty sure nobody does. So I'm pretty sure even if it might, oh, see what the soap did? When I poured that soap in, what did it do? Psh, it scattered the oil, which tells me oil does not like soap. Now the good news of that is that you can get the oil to move. The bad news is, where did that oil move to? Oh, the shoreline is ruined now. It's full of oil. Look at the oil dripping from that rock. Look at the oil over here. Look at the oil right there. So if I had any plants or any fish living on the shoreline or any birds there, see my feather? Yeah, if my feather was sitting there, if the bird was standing there, ugh, it'd be covered with oil. So the good news about soap is it disperses the oil.
The bad news is, did it get rid of it? No, it just moved it. You need a lot of soap to clean up oil. And my otter did not like that soap in its eyes and its tummy and its mouth, and it got really sick. And I bet all the fish living in the water got really sick from the soap. So in short, this experiment is to show it is not easy to clean up an oil spill. And like I said, what they often do with an oil spill is they do try to remove it. They can have vacuums on the surface that try to scoop it out, or they try to absorb it. They usually do, and in fact, it is illegal. That means they are not allowed to clean up an oil spill with soap because it damages all of the creatures there. So, oil spills are tricky things to clean up. So when you guys get home today, or now that you are home, what am I saying? You are home. When this video is finished, you guys try that experiment and see if you can come up with any better ideas. What's really great is that some of the ways of cleaning up oil spills have actually improved over the years from folks like you who have grown up seeing how sad it is to animals and have said, I'm going to try to find a better way to clean it up. And that's how we have the vacuums that clean up the water now, the oceans now, and things like that from kids like you, growing up a little bit and figuring out solutions. So that was just a little experiment. Woo, I got water everywhere and oil everywhere. What happens during an oil spill? It really affects plant, animal, and human life even, because now our water is damaged. Now our animals that we would hunt and the fish that we would eat are all damaged. In fact, oceans, we can pretend that that's an ocean. Oceans cover 71% of the earth. That means if like the earth is the number 10, 7 of those 10 is ocean on the earth. Yeah, only 3 of that is kind of land. The rest of the 7 is ocean. So the oceans are a big part of our planet. The phytoplankton are little creatures that live in the ocean. They create 50 to 80% of the oxygen we breathe. So over half of the oxygen we breathe is not from the trees and their photosynthesis. It's from the phytoplankton in the oceans. Now, if that phytoplankton had an oil spill like we just saw, what do you think is going to happen to the phytoplankton? Yeah, they're going to die because they can't be surrounded by oil. Can you breathe if you have oil in your nose? No. I mean, they don't have noses, but it's the same idea, is that they can't survive with that much oil coated on them. So that means we're killing the things that help us breathe. So oceans are very polluted right now with garbage, chemical waste, overfishing, and oil spills. And there's even places called dead zones in the oceans where no fish and no plant or fish life can live because there's just too much pollution for them to live, and those dead zones are growing. So we need to stop that. And some of the things I was thinking, well, I can tell you about all the sad stuff, but what are some things you guys can do? First of all, put on your thinking caps, because I think you have better ideas than I even have. Secondly, they have some rules for boaters. So if you have a boat and you go out in a boat with a gas motor and kind of drive your boat, they ask that you don't overfill your tanks. Instead of filling it all the way up to the top, only fill it 90%, and then you won't have oil spills that leak into the water. Secondly, make sure those motors are inspected yearly so that there's no leaks or little spots that the oil can seep out. For Marines, the Marines can recycle their oil, and they can also make sure that they require inspections on the Marines as well to make sure that the Marines aren't leaking any oil. And it's illegal to use soaps to disperse an oil spill. So if a Marine spills some oil, they should not use soap like we just saw because it goes to the sides. At home, we don't live by an ocean here in Colorado, so what can we do? Well, there's a few things. One, if you guys have money, you can do bake sales or something to raise money to donate to a conservation agency that does deal with oil spills in the ocean. That's a great idea, but that's a big thing. Sometimes there's even smaller things you can do. You can have your parents, or you can donate to organizations that rescue animals. But the other thing is that's pretty simple is you can start to reduce your energy consumption. The reason that there is oil being transported on the ocean or being pulled out of the ground underneath the ocean is because we use oil for heat. We use oil to run things, to help technology go. We use oil for our cars. We use oil for our vehicles. So some of the things you consider is how to decrease your usage of that at home. How can you make sure that maybe you put on an extra sweater instead of having your heat so high up at home, or an extra blanket? Or can you make sure that your lights are turned off if you're not needing them? Those kind of ideas. And that's something you guys can do at home. The other thing you can do is look for local groups that are conservation groups that you can volunteer at. So you can volunteer and go help. Now maybe locally in Colorado, we're not going to be cleaning up oceans because we don't have oceans here. But we do have volunteers that help repair trails to make sure that the trails don't wash out, or that pick up trash, or that deal with conservations of species. Sometimes the Audubon, I believe once a year, the Audubon Society does a bird count. And they ask for volunteers to count the birds that they see in their specific area, and then they get a count, and they study how many birds are coming back to the area year after year, and whether or not pollution or building or other things have affected those birds. So those are all things you can do at home. All right, lots of talky. Talk. Let's do a carbon footprint exercise. All right, here's another homework thing you guys can do, or you can do it right now. So this is a picture of a carbon footprint. Not really, it's a picture of my footprint. I don't have paint, but what you guys can do is paint, not with your socks on though. Have your socks off, make sure an adult says it's okay, and you paint the bottom of your foot here. And I like to do it with black paint because it's kind of like the carbon footprint. And then you stamp it on a piece of paper. And then you have your footprint, and you can think of ideas and the ways that you can try to make the smallest carbon footprint. Now, what on earth is a carbon footprint? That seems like a very big word. Carbon footprint. I have it written down very concisely here, but I don't know if I can find it. Oh. A carbon footprint is just the amount of CO2, which is carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases, that is produced as a result of just our daily living. Like, there's many things we do that create greenhouse gases or carbon dioxide. So driving is one, flying airplanes is another, using electricity, the types of foods we eat, depending on how far they've traveled, whether they've transported them. There's lots of things. Whether the plastics that we're using that are wrapping the food or that are in our clothes, whether those add to the footprint. So, and what that is you add all those things up. All the stuff that we're doing that can't be reused again. And that's just kind of pulling from the earth and not giving back. That's not an equal give and take. It's kind of like if you were sharing snacks versus sharing toys. If you're sharing snacks with a friend, when that friend takes 2 snacks and eats them, there's no snacks that they give back. There's nothing to give back to you. But if you're sharing toys, you can offer the 2 toys to the friend, they can be done with them and give them back to you. There's a give and an exchange. And a carbon footprint is when there's not an exchange back, it's just the stuff that we're using and they kind of giving the trash back. And that's not very nice. And so the idea is we can't completely eliminate a carbon footprint. What we can do is try to make ours smaller and smaller, one little step at a time. And that just shows how much of an impact we have on the environment. So let's go back to our footprint art. So you stamped your foot on here. I couldn't stamp mine, so I wrote down some ideas that I have on things that can contribute to carbon, to my carbon footprint. Driving, flying in an airplane, the waste in your house, like your food trash, the packaging that creates paper and plastic trash, the electricity you use, the water you use, whether the food that you got was local from a local farm or whether it had to be transported all the way from Florida or California or somewhere even farther, whether there was non-organic food involved, because non-organic food involves pesticides and a lot of transportation and a lot of organic
food is made on sustainable farms that don't use vehicles like tractors and stuff that burn fuel, but non-organic, I don't know if I said that correctly. A lot of organic farms don't use that, but non-organic farms do use the fuel. And so that makes a carbon footprint. Inefficient use of old appliances that use too much electricity or that are leaking stuff, and lights that aren't efficient anymore, or even keeping your computer or your phone charger plugged in when you're not needing it. Plastic bags that you may get from the grocery store, plastic baggies that you put your food in. If you don't there's lots of other options other than plastic baggies, and even if you end up having to use plastic baggies, you can wash those baggies out again and again and again and again, as long as you take care of them. Plastic in our clothing. A lot of our clothes are not made of 100% cotton. A lot of them have plastic in it. Fleece, for instance. A lot of fleece is actually made from plastic, which isn't so good. After you're done with the fleece, what can they do with it? And extra trips. If you take extra trips to places, those are all things that can add to your carbon footprint. So these are just some ideas I had. I'm not going to rate them all off, but on how to reduce my carbon footprint. I can use cloth napkins instead of paper napkins and paper towels. I can unplug my phone charger when I'm finished using it. I can carpool, bike, or walk more. I can make my trips to the grocery store and stuff just one for the whole week or maybe 2 weeks instead of making multiple trips. And I can make sure to go to local farmers markets. I made a compost bin in my backyard for my food trash. And my chickens eat my food trash. And I could buy groceries that have no plastic wrappings. Or get my stuff, I have a CSA where I get my local farm vegetables instead of having to get vegetables that were shipped to the stores. The other big thing I do is I collect the extra water. You know how like when you're turning on your bath or your shower and you have to make that cold water get hot and it takes a few minutes. I have a plastic tub I keep in the bath, and then when I turn it on, while it's still cold, I fill that tub up, and then once the water gets warm, I'll move the tub to a different, like a little plastic container. Unfortunately, it's plastic. I should have thought about that and not made it plastic, but that's what I had. And so I move it, and then I use that water to water my plants. The other thing is you can buy clothing from different companies that donate money to environmental causes or that make sure that there's no plastic. Like Patagonia is a good outdoor gear coat company because they have worked really hard to make their coats not have plastic in them and use very, very minimal damaging products. They're really great at what they do. Patagonia is a good brand. You can also bring your own glass containers when you go out to eat and you have leftovers. Instead of getting those plastic containers or paper containers that you bring home, bring your own glass ones and fill them up. And then another weird thing that I do is I use my chicken feed bags, the big bags that my chicken feed come in. I use those and I save them, and then when I clean out the coop from all their poop, I dump it in there instead of a plastic bag. Actually, I try to add some of it to my compost, but some of it I do have to throw away because I have so much of it, and so I make sure to throw away in those bags, so it's a reused bag. So those are just some ideas. I'm going to get my computer screen up here so you can see a picture of some interesting things. There's a lot of different ways to offset your carbon footprint. And you know, the important part of that is that don't try to do like 1,000 things at once, because that's just going to make you tired and it's so hard. Your homework is to do one thing different a month. Even if that one thing this month is I'm going to make sure that my iPad charger is unplugged when I'm not using it. Great. Or I'm going to make sure that when I wash my hands, I turn on the water to wash my hands. I don't turn it on full blast. I just turn it on just enough to wash my hands. That's enough. Little things like that. If you do that little thing this whole month, and if you remind your family members, and each one of them does that little thing this whole month, and maybe you even tell a friend, and each one of your friends does that one little thing a whole month, that's a big change that starts to happen just from your one little thing. So that's your homework, is to do one little thing different that can help the earth. Speaking of helping the earth, I love trees. If you guys know me, you know I love trees. Here are top 10 things that the trees do for us in honor of Earth Day. Trees are home for many birds and other animals. They feed us with nuts and fruits. They clean the air, the water, and the soil. They help us save energy. They give us paper and wood that we need to use sustainably. They hold the soil in place so the soil doesn't fall away. They make the world a prettier place. They give us medicine. They provide shade, and they make air for us to breathe. Trees are lovely, lovely, lovely creations. And your job today for Earth Day is to go out and spend some time with a tree. Even if that's just to go out and give a nice, huge hug to a tree, because trees are so important for us. All right, I'm going to stop talking and let you listen to this book. It's a silly book. Let me make it big. Whee! Boop-a-doo-boop-a-boo. Sorry about that. I'm going to make it big, full screen. Let's read the book.
Written by Viviana Garofoli. Max the little monster liked to fling candy wrappers. He left a trail of trash wherever he went. Whee, said Max. Max the little monster did not like to give away his old toys, even when he'd outgrown them. Mine, cried Max. Max the little monster liked to overflow the sink and the bathtub and clog the toilet. Hungry toilet, said Max. Max the little monster left the lights on and blared the TV, even when he wasn't in the room. No big whoop, said Max. Then one night, in the middle of his favorite program, something unexpected happened. The lights went out and the TV went off. There had been a blackout. Hey, shouted Max. Who turned out the lights? Max tripped over some old toys and stumbled outside to see what was wrong. Max looked around. He saw a full moon as it shone brightly on the colorful spring flowers. He heard the crickets chirp and an owl hoot. He even saw a shooting star as it twinkled across the night sky. Wow, said Max. This is so beautiful. When the lights came back on, Max the little monster felt something new. He began to notice things that he hadn't noticed before. In the summer, Max the little monster went to the beach and noticed the pretty shells. He wiggled his toes in the sand. He watched the sun sparkle on the waves. He saw a dolphin leap out of the water. Max picked up an old bottle and an ice cream wrapper and threw them into a trash can. Pollution makes the beach look ugly, said Max, and pollution can hurt animals and plants. In autumn, Max the little monster noticed the colorful leaves, red, orange, and yellow. He jumped in leaf piles with his friends. Leaves are so pretty and more fun to play in than watching TV, cried Max. After they jumped in the leaves, Max, the little monster, didn't want to leave a mess, so he composted the leaves. Rotten leaves help the dirt grow happy flowers, said Max. In winter, Max the little monster noticed the wonder of snowflakes. Each delicate snowflake looked like a crystal jewel. He made a T-Rex, an igloo, and a snow angel. Why didn't I see this before? Wondered Max. The earth is beautiful. Now Max, the little monster, never wastes water. More snowflakes, says Max. And he doesn't waste toilet paper. Happy monster, happy toilet, happy earth, says Max. Now Max, the little monster, never wastes electricity. He turns off lights except for the one he is using. He hardly ever watches TV, but when he does, he turns it off when his program is over. Let's play outside, says Max. Fresh air feels good on my fur. Now Max, the little monster, never litters. He recycles any paper, aluminum cans, and plastic bottles he uses. Max also likes to eat fresh fruits instead of candy, and drink water instead of soda pop. Tasty, says Max, and he always throws his trash away in the right bin. Max, the little monster, even has yard sales where he sells all his old toys. Max also trades his toys with his friends. Wow, said Max. Old toys I've never played with before are just as fun as new toys. Now Max the little monster loves the earth. He reduces the amount of water and energy he uses. He finds ways to reuse as many things as he can, and he recycles his trash. Sometimes he even hugs trees. Max the little monster is now called Max the little green monster. You can be a little green monster too and help save the earth.
So this is a page with definitions. Oops, I guess I didn't do that.
Hi everyone.
Oopsie.
Thank you so much for watching.
Let me go back a little bit because I want you guys to get the definitions too.
Save the earth.
Ta-da! Pause. There we go. A blackout. A blackout is a power failure when the electricity goes out. A compost. A compost is a mixture of rotted leaves, plants, or vegetables that can be used in a garden to give nutrition to growing plants. Wiggle your fingers if you guys have a compost bin outside. They're really easy to make, and you can buy one, or you can just use flat pallets, and you can put them together, and you can make a nice compost bin. Electricity is the power used to make things like televisions, lights, and computers work. Green is a word used to describe someone who is kind to the earth and protects it from harm. We're going to sing my green song again next. Litter is to throw garbage away in places that it does not belong, like on the ground or out of a car window. I hope that none of you litter. That's a very important thing. Pollution is things that make the environment dirty, like garbage, chemicals, or gases, even the gases out of your car. Recycle, to use trash to make new things. Reduce, to use less of something, like less paper, less toilet paper, less paper towels, less electricity. Reuse, to use something again in a different way instead of throwing it away. When I said that I reused my chicken bags for trash bags for the chicken poop, that was an example of reusing. All right, guys, so you have homework of 1, doing that oil project spill, 2, and doing the carbon footprint and coming up with some ideas on how you can reduce your carbon footprint at home. 3, hugging a tree and going and playing by a tree today. And 4, here's an example of an outdoor scavenger hunt that I want you guys to do today. It's so cool. You don't have to make it as special as this. You can just write down some things on a piece of paper. But what you do is you have squares on a paper and you draw a picture of the following items you have observed outside. So you can have an adult write down birds, flowers, squirrel, tree, clouds, insects, something sticky, something smooth, something rough, something yellow, something blue. This says something purple. I would say something green because it's a little easier to find green things. Up here is something moving in the breeze, something that's fallen from a tree, something wet, something tiny, something huge, and something you really like. So you get all that on a piece of paper, and you and your siblings go out with your parents too, or your nanny or whoever's with you, and then you say, on your marks, get set, go, and you do a scavenger hunt. And it's not about whoever's the first finished, but you can set a time frame, like a half hour, and then when you come back, everyone who's finished the whole chart and found everything gets a big high five, and they win, and then you can share the things that you've drawn and the things that you've seen. Because maybe, even though you and your brother were out in the backyard and you both saw birds, maybe you both saw a different bird. So, that's another homework for you. There's so many homeworks for Earth Day, but it's all fun homeworks that I think are so exciting. All right, before we head out today so that you guys can get outside, that's your #1 homework. Even if you don't do anything else, get outside today. And do you know why that's important? #1, it's good for your health. But so much about protecting the earth, so much that we care about is the stuff that's around us. So, for instance, how many of you guys have dogs and cats at home? For those of you who have dogs and cats or fish or hamsters at home, if somebody told you that the oil spill was killing your dog, killing dogs and cats and hamsters and like your kind of pet fish, you'd be so mad because you're like, I love those creatures. But if they're saying that they're killing
you've never heard of, way, way far away that you've never seen, it's a little bit harder to care about it. That's why it's important to get outside. The more you get outside, the more that you camp. Camping is especially important because you're just immersed in the outside. The more you see how important that breeze is. Just like little Monster in that book. When he was outside, he realized how beautiful the moonlight was. He realized how fun jumping in the leaves were. He realized how important all these things are, and it made him want to protect them and to do them more. So that's why it's important to get outside, because the more you experience it, the more you realize, just like Broken Turtle, or Old Turtle and the Broken Truth that we read yesterday, the more they experience it, the more they realize how important those things are, how important the wind is, how important the air is, how important the water is, how important our earth is, how important our plants are, how important our animals are. It does make a difference if elephants go extinct. It does. Even though you've never seen an elephant in your everyday environment, that animal being gone will make a difference with its food chain, which will make a difference with the other food chain, which will make a difference with the birds migrating here, which will make a difference in your food chain. So please remember to take some time outside and appreciate it. It's here right now, and let's love it. All right, let's sing that green song. Remember, this song, I'll sing the verses and you just sing the green refrain, which is green, we are green, green, we are green, we are green, we are green. It's a fun one. Channel your inner Kermit the Frog. Oh, the sun's golden rays shine down on the earth, greening up the land, it's a green rebirth, reminding all earthly beings, we are green. Here you go. We are green, 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 we are green, 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 we are green, we are green, we are green. As the trees root deep, their arms stretch to the sky, and the fish in the water and the birds way up high all are singing along their own versions of this song. Singing green, green, we are green, 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 we are green, we are green, we are green. And the animals great and the creatures so small are strutting to the rhythm green and having a ball, and the flowers and plants are doing their own dance to the green, 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 we are green, 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 we are green, we are green, we are green. Yes, we humans are green, always were and will be, and we live here on earth in balanced harmony, and our hearts beat along to our own green Donna song. Here we go. Singing green, 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 we are green, 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 we are green, we are green, we are green. And the things we create, our technologies, are all balanced and green and in harmony with every living being that is green. That's something to hope for and work towards. Singing green, 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 we are green, 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 we are green, we are green, we are green. And the things we think and do and words that we say, yes, the dreams we dream of each and every day are sovereign, strong, and harmonious with our green songs. Singing green, 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 we are green, 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 we are green, we are green, we are green. We're living green, 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 we are green, 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 we are green, we are green, we are green.
And we are green, green, green. We are green, green, green. We are green. We are green. We are green. Yay! Go out there and explore the green earth today. Have a great day and happy Earth Day.